Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The First Slam Dunk. This is a film that came out, I believe, in Japan in 2022, but it is now available here in North America in theaters. This movie is rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes, written and directed by Takehiko Inoue. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomatoes score of 100% for the critics, although it's only 24 reviews, but still, 24 people giving it 100%. That's pretty good. Giving it a positive score, that's pretty good. Also, audience says 96%. That one's definitely a few more people. Now, for those that are not familiar, this is all based on the manga of the same or name Slam Dunk. But this is kind of a legacy slash original adaptation of the manga. Back 30 years ago, we had a slam dunk anime that covered a lot of the manga. I don't know if it was finished or not. I've never seen it, and that was one of the things I was hesitant about going into this film, but we'll talk about that. Let me give you a quick synopsis here. In this movie, Shohoku's speedster, who is the school that we follow, a point guard, Ryota Miyagi, always plays with his brains and lightning speed, running circles around his opponents while feigning composure. Born and raised in Okinawa, Ryota had a brother who was 3 years older. Following in the footsteps of his older brother, who was a famous local player, a basketball player that is, at a young age, Ryota became addicted to basketball. In his second year of high school, Ryota plays for Shohoku High School basketball team along with Sakuragi, Rukawa, Akagi, and Mitsui as they take on the stage of the Inter-High School National Championship, and now they're on the brink of challenging the reigning champions, Sano Kyogo High School. I love sports anime. Big fan of Haiku, Kuroko no Basket, Prince of Tennis. There's all kinds of stuff that I've seen and I really love. Uh, but Slam Dunk isn't one I've gone back to watch. I think first of all, it's pretty long, which is definitely something that has kept me from trying to check that out. And I also sometimes some of the older anime was paced in a very different way because they would just kind of go all throughout the year. Like even up to like the days of more current stuff like Naruto and Bleach, like they would have fillers all the time because of the time constraints. Now, from what I've gathered online and talked to some people, there were some people on my screening that were big fans of the manga and the anime because they were all wearing the jerseys for Shohoku's high school, which are pretty cool. The red jerseys look a lot like the Bulls. But yeah, they told me like this is really an original kind of story. We The main thing is that instead of the main protagonist from Slam Dunk, we follow Miyagi on this one, right? We see everything through his perspective. We get his story. So that's really the big difference. Now, as somebody going into this film without any prior knowledge of Slam Dunk, I never felt left out of the story. I'm sure if you had the insight of knowing the background of these characters a little bit more, and what they've been through before, like there's definitely a lot more that could go into that. But I didn't feel left out for one second. There was a few things that kind of help you build all this backstory, and also because we have kind of changed the point of view of the protagonist to a different person, we get a complete story here, but still follow along a beloved team if you're a big fan of Slam Dunk prior to going into this film. So yeah, I think this film does a great service to the franchise, and just to kind of continue its legacy. Uh, and the name is a bit confusing because it's actually one of their last games for the championship. So I believe all this is part of the pretty close to the end of the manga. At least the this game that we actually see here. Um, let's talk about the animation. Normally, and I've talked about this before, I was not a big fan of CG animation. Now, this one, they do a really interesting blend of techniques that I think feels it's definitely an update from the original style, from the 2D animation, from the original anime. But it really fits here, right? Because we're seeing things from a different point of view. I think it allows the team some freedom to take some creative liberties with how they approach the shoot. Like, like the camera motion, it's very different. And it's just, they do so many interesting things with the animation. I really liked it. There's an opening sequence that has all the boys kind of walking down the stairs, and they're kind of drawn into sketches. Like, you see them being drawn um, by a sketch, which looks amazing. Um, so yeah, I think the animation really works. It took me a few minutes to kind of get used to it, because, like I said, for the most part, I prefer the more traditional animation. But I think the studios have shown us that there's a way to blend all these different styles into something that looks great and looks different and looks new and fresh. And I think this movie definitely did that. And it just really helps with not only the storytelling but also the action beats of the film. Uh, Basketball is a very dynamic sport, and you really want to make sure that you're moving around a lot, following not just the ball but reactions of the crowd, the players, everything that's going on. All that intercut with all the flashbacks to us seeing Miyagi's story. And although this is definitely about a game and an important game for the team, the film is so much more than that, and that's the reason it's 2 hours. I feel like there was one or two sequences in the middle where I wasn't sure that they were fully worth exploring. I think they bring in a little bit more information, but maybe could have trimmed, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes of this film. But overall, like, I really enjoyed it. The pacing's very well done. The like, flashing back and forth between the game and Miyagi's story and some of the other characters who we kind of get a little bit of background on. But I think the thing that got me the most is that this film is not only about basketball and the passion that these kids have for it, um, and their love of the game, but it's also about loss and grief, and how to process that, how to react to that, how to use the sport to help you move forward, and maybe connect with other people and how those relationships are formed. There's a lot of levels. There's a lot of depth to this film, which I was not expecting, but I really, really enjoyed. There are some definitely very emotional beats. There's some things that just really make you very happy. There's some very funny moments. I think I forget the name of the main protagonist originally, but he's one of the funnier characters. His interactions with the coach had us laughing in the theater. So yeah, I think the film just does a very good job portraying the battle for the kids, specifically Ryota, on and off the court. So it's just really well done. It's really presented in a way that it's very much very digestible to the audience, which I think it's a weird thing to phrase it, but it just felt like it was a smooth ride all throughout the film. Like I said, there was a part in the middle that I felt that was a little bit clunky. Um, but yeah, I mean, as somebody that's new to this franchise, like, if this is your opening gambit, I'm fully in. Like, I don't know if the rest of the stuff I've heard the manga is just really, really amazing, so I'll probably check that out. But this is so well done. I love the character designs. All the characters have like distinct characteristics and are easy for you to tell them apart. Like, both on the side of Shohoku and Sano high school, both of them, you can kind of tell. I think it's been updated to reflect a more contemporary style as well. Like, the haircuts and the style and the shoes. Like, I don't know exactly what the fashion looked like back then, but I've seen a few clips from the original anime, or yeah, the original anime, and I feel like they did such a good job updating the characters. I love how some of the characters are like, these are basketball players, so they're tall, they're large, they're big. They do such a fun job exaggerating some of those features sometimes for the effect of here. And of course, basketball is a very uh, it's a very exciting sport to follow, especially in high school where they do only two halves of 20 minutes. It's definitely there's definitely a lot more going on. It's very much fast paced. This isn't as dramatic as some of the things that you would see in Kuroko no Basket, if you've seen that. I think they definitely have more stylized way to perform, like to do the performances of the skills and the tricks and everything that's going on. This is a little bit more grounded than that, which I definitely appreciated. It feels to me like the difference between Blue Lock and Aoashi, where like this Slam Dunk feels more grounded, like Aoashi, which is the soccer anime, whereas Blue Lock is more stylized and more uh, just they really crank it up to 11, so you can really get the action, which feels more like Kuroko no Basket did the same thing. So uh, overall, highly recommend this. But if you've seen this, if you read the manga, if you watched the anime, let me know. What do you think about it? How does this fit into the story for you? What are some of the things that came, like if you're a longtime fan of Slam Dunk, what are some of the things that popped out during this film that they addressed? But overall, it's a beautiful story about basketball, the love of the game, and how it affects your life and how it can get you out of maybe a very dark place. So, as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.